Second thing, you kind of made it sound like Donald Trump is Thanos, man. Like, nobody's trying to make him into like a demigod. He doesn't have the magical gauntlet, but you do got to recognize the fact that literally, and I talked to him about it, the way he turned his head at the podium, which he typically will do, it was this much. And you have to acknowledge that it's not just luck. I do believe millions of Americans
that's just luck.
So in light of President Donald Trump nearly being assassinated a week ago, there's been a lot of rhetoric. We've been hearing a lot about this rhetoric because the rhetoric tends to influence people, right? That's how the 20-year-old who had heard nothing but Trump is Hitler for the last 8 years since he was 12 years old essentially came to taking a shot at President Trump last weekend. But what I've noticed over the last week is that the left hasn't ramped down at all. As a matter of fact, they're escalating the rhetoric, in my opinion. And so in that light, I want to highlight some of the hypocrisy that comes out of Bill Maher's face in this video. It's two videos that I'm putting into one here. You'll see that the crowd actually turns a bit on Bill Maher because he just goes too far. So let's check out this video. If you enjoy it, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button along the way.
New rule, there's nothing on earth, not even an assassination attempt, that can't be made just a little worse by adding religion. Since the bullet that was meant for Donald Trump missed him last Saturday, Republicans have been indulging in an orgy of magical thinking, saying things like, Trump wears the armor of God. The internet quickly filled up with images of angels and Jesus protecting Trump, like this one from Congresswoman Maria Salazar. Steve Scalise said, yesterday there were miracles, and I think the hand of God was there too. Steve was also shot, but God was having an off day. That bullet missed his ear and went into his spleen. And look, I'm not anti-religion. Oh, wait, I'm very anti-religion. That's right. That's the way we need to be with religion. Not condescending.
Not condescending, huh? Well, what did you just spend the last few minutes doing? And this is an example of the rhetoric. He's not calming down. He knows that a lot of people on the conservative side, MAGA, whatever you want to call it, are very religious. But here he is, and he makes a comment coming up here in a minute that is very curious to me. Let's see if you guys notice it too. I'll point it out when it happens.
But Trump didn't survive the attempt on his life because of divine intervention. He survived because a virgin couldn't hit the fattest president since Taft. And his only form of exercise is eating. But he's somehow stronger than ever at 78. Meanwhile, Richard Simmons dead at 76. Look, the asshole who shot at Trump was cowardly, unpatriotic, selfish, vile, and weak, and he should rot in hell. But think...
Rot where? I thought you don't believe in religion. But here, let's move on to the next part where he introduces Byron Donalds, who turns the tides a little bit against Bill Maher on his own show. Let's go ahead and check it out.
All right, here we are in overtime with the host of the podcast, Black on the Air, Larry Wilmore, and the Republican Congressman from Florida's 19th District, Byron Donalds. Byron, Larry. Okay. Well, first of all, you're a religious person. Do you want to have a rebuttal to what I just said on the editorial? I may have taken a shot or two at religion.
Two things. First, you don't have to believe in God to see God's miracle in your life from a believer. Whether you're an atheist, no matter what you believe in, whether I even like you or not, I can recognize the fact that something happened that stayed you away from death or pain or a grave circumstance. I equate it to the hand of God moved on your life. That's the first thing. Second thing, you kind of made it sound like Donald Trump is Thanos, man. Like, nobody's trying to make him into like a demigod. He doesn't have the magical gauntlet, but you do got to recognize the fact that literally, and I talked to him about it, the way he turned his head at the podium, which he typically will do, it was this much. And you have to acknowledge that it's not just luck. I do believe millions of Americans
that's just luck.
God's hand is on it.
I think that's the difference between how we see it. But, okay. No, we just see that differently. Some people see, there's this order and everything, and some people see randomness. Right. What about the guy behind him who got shot? Because,
Tragedy.
I know, but like you say, God, God's not happy with that guy? No, but it's like, how do you justify that? Why did God let,
It's like, whew, good job, Jesus. Wait, what? Jesus? No, there were two. Oh. It wasn't just, there were two. No, never mind. Maybe,
what is God's answer to that? It happens, I can't be everywhere? It's just, okay, all right. Let's go.
Although I will have to say,
it's like the abortion thing that you guys, the wonderful discussion, very entertaining. And by the way, I think that's very healthy to see that.
What? The only thing I'll add to that conversation is that's the conversation you have to have about abortion.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't shy away from it just by hiding behind your party or hiding behind your labels if we're going to figure out how as a country and as a people we're going to move forward.
Right. And
I agree with that.
Was that Bill Maher shaking his head because his audience approves of what his guest just said? And if you still believe that Trump is going to pass some sort of federal abortion ban, you need to listen to what he says, which is he's going to leave that up to the states.
Is the Trump shooter who has been described as a quiet, lonely kid who was bullied in school an example of how boys in America are in crisis? Yeah. I think there's been many books about it, men in crisis. And if you look at the statistics, there's a lot of information about girls too, that would lead one to believe that young people are in crisis no matter what their gender. But boys especially in this day and age, I think, are living through something I don't think boys ever lived through before. First of all, we live in a kind of an information age.
So is that some type of admission that rhetoric matters?
What has been the calling card of men for years, brawn, is not valued anymore as much. There's controversy about the Secret Service people who were guarding Trump because some people say it shouldn't have been women because they were a foot shorter than him. And so that's not the best if you're trying to block a bullet from getting to the president. And kids like that, I'm not saying he did this for this reason, but they see wow, even the jobs we used to be better at, like being taller. We can't even get those jobs anymore.
Amen.
But
that was the first funny thing I'd heard him say all video.
Yeah, I think there's a loneliness epidemic happening now, and you've talked about this many times, of social media being kind of at the heart of it.
Yes.
One of the benefits of religion, I think, is that at least people are getting out of the house, coming together in a community, and sharing something together, and people can meet there and that kind of thing. When people are isolated, social media, and also the pornification of the culture too, where guys don't have to try as hard to have sex anymore. They can have sex with their phone now, basically. But it's true, honestly. But when you have to work to impress a girl, or put some nice clothes on to go out, even just to a bar, you're being social. There's value to being a social animal. That's how we've lived for all these thousands of years, by being social creatures.
Yeah. I agree with you. Young boys, really the last probably 2 decades in America, we got a real problem. Masculinity is important. It's important for not just cultural reasons. It's important for your development from a boy to a man, to realize what's important, to understand that you have a responsibility to go out there and gather and work hard and earn, and you got to have that grit, that toughness to be a leader, to be a husband, to be a father, whether that's a decision you choose to make in your own personal life. But those traits are important for masculinity and for men. To take them away really hurts not just men, it hurts women as well.
Yeah, I'll say this about the one last thing. Although I don't think it's fair to put the shooter in this particular category, because that thing has shown up many times over the past. Remember, Hinckley wanted to impress Jodie Foster,
But
if you look at Lee Harvey Oswald, it's a lot of the same profile as this guy, his personal profile. People that have done these types of acts over the years.
I don't think it's all that. I think Lee Harvey Oswald was political. He was in Russia.
We don't know which side, though, either, yeah.
Well, yes, it was a little murky. He did purposely go to Russia. He married a Russian woman.
Right.
He was involved with the Communist Party. Yeah. We don't know.
Yeah.
But this kid, I mean, all they know is that he was looking at stuff about Biden as well as Trump. I think he would have shot whoever showed up that day.
Yeah, it's like the kid who shot the people in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Or, you know, Columbine and some of these other things, you know, some of these profiles of kids. But yeah, it's not a big disagreement. I'm just pointing out some of these profiles there.
All right. What do you think? What are your thoughts, panel, on NBC pulling Morning Joe? Oh yeah, from the air on Monday.
Thank God, no.
I thought we were in agreement now. I thought we were like,
Why?
I thought we came together on that point. That's what I thought.
Why? We don't like Morning Joe?
No,
well,
I don't.
Well,
I
if
don't.
people don't know what, I mean, I was shocked at this story too. If people don't know what this is. Morning Joe, the shooting was on Saturday. They pulled the show off the air Monday, did not air it because they were afraid that someone on the show would say something untoward.
Have they not watched the show for the past 8 years?
Why? What are they saying on that show?
What do they say about Trump?
Oh, about Trump, but yeah.
Well, they say everything
But
negative
that you
about
can't trust your
I don't understand.
journalists?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I mean, this would be like if Walter Cronkite, the day of the Kennedy assassination, the Flash from Dallas, I shouldn't really say anything. Something happened there. I'll hear. I mean, that you can't trust. How could the people trust in these journalists if the network itself can't trust them to go on the air and not fuck it up?
Well, also, Morning Joe.
You can't be respectful?
No, it doesn't make sense. It really, I mean, I make jokes about it, but it really doesn't make sense. It's not like Morning Joe is more partisan than the late night MSNBC lineup. You know, that's just as partisan in terms of where their point of view, where they're coming from. So I don't know why they wouldn't trust that,
Okay.
and yet they can have.
Now, the show's on for me in the middle of the night.
Right.
So I'm not going to say I see it a lot.
right.
I mean, it's on at like 6 in the morning. I mean, I'm
Right.
barely getting to sleep. What? I'm a comedian. This is the life we live. Okay.
That's true.
But Joe was like you, a congressman from Florida, a Republican congressman from Florida. I don't think he's a crazy person. I think he's a smart guy. I like him. He's been on this show. I've been on his show. I'd like to hear what he has to say.
I don't know what their decision, what their thing was. I would say.
Has Joe become that far left
don't think so.
in your view?
No, but even if
he's
he
that
has-
anti-Trump though.
No, but even if he has,
Well,
who
so am I.
cares? You know, he's not some crazy person that
Right.
you suddenly realize, who's this crazy person we have on TV? Well, you're the one that put him on. Why, you know, you're just realizing this person shouldn't be on television?
If,
No, of course
if
not.
NBC can't trust the show going on, it's because they already know that the show has a very strong anti-Trump viewpoint. So maybe they said, you know what, we can't take a chance. I don't want to speak for them.
No,
I don't know.
mean, that's
but-
exactly what it sounds like. I just think it's ridiculous. But
Well, Bill, a lot of people think what you say is ridiculous and out of touch. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that one. Had fun watching it. If you did too, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.